both hands on the wheel. All right, guys, it's gonna take us about 20-25 minutes to get out there. Once we get there, I have to go up and grab our tickets to get us in through the gate. While I'm doing that, they have a beautiful fountain set up and what we call the NASA meatball out there. So you guys will go right up to that area to be taking your pictures and such. And then once I get the tickets, we'll get in and we'll get going. What I need from you guys is if I set up a meeting time and a meeting point, I need you guys to be there when I say. That way we can keep moving through, see as much as we can, okay? We have a bus tour at 11:30. That is the one that's gonna take us from the visitor center actually out onto NASA property. So we're gonna go see the launch pads and stuff. And then we end up out at the Apollo Saturn V Center. Now the Apollo Saturn V Center, Saturn V is the one that took us to the moon, okay? There was 20 of them built and we only did 18 missions, or 17 missions, pardon me. So we got to keep what would have been mission 18 here. One went to Huntsville, Alabama, and one went to Houston, Texas. So this rocket, they built the Saturn V Center and they have it on display like it's hanging from the ceiling. So we're gonna go in through a small theater and then when you first see it, what you're looking at is the tail end. So you're looking at 5 F1 engines right up above you and we're gonna walk underneath it. Now, out there, that's gonna be our chance to get, if you guys want a little snack, which, you know, if you get something, think of it as amusement park food, okay? I'll just say that. That's also gonna be your chance to do some gift shopping. All right, so if anybody wants to hit the gift store, that'll be your chance to do that. But I do promise some time in there for that before we head that. Then from that point, we have to grab us a different bus to come back to the visitor center, to come out to parking lot, get our bus, and come back here. We need to be leaving there at 2 o'clock. Do I have any folks that start a shift like 3 o'clock today? Everybody's good? Okay, all right, good deal. Yeah, so we'll get back here right around 2:30, 2:40-ish. That's what time we'll get back here. So by 3 o'clock, for sure, you guys are back on the ship. All right, sound good? All right, good deal. Okay, well, how many of you have been out to Kendig before? Anybody? Nobody? All first timers? All right, there we go. All right, yeah, I got a bus full of virgins. See how that goes? See how that is. All right. Okay, we're old now. When I first saw the design, I was a little confused because anybody that's seen pictures of Dubai, there's that big, beautiful building. So we were kind of like, are they trying to take off from that or what? So a little confused on that one. It is a nice little place. They have all the multicolored lights outside, so at night it lights up all the different colors. It's very pretty and stuff. All the history of the port in there, some history of Florida. There's a level in there that you can do like simulators trying to dock the ship. 12.5 miles away from us, and when we're on the bus later, we're going to be on the road right in front of it. We can see it from here because that building alone takes up 8 acres of property. Okay, it's the world's largest single-story building. Now, follow the horizon back from there. You're going to see some towers, and then where you start seeing another batch of buildings, and then all the way back to the port. That is the Air Force side of the house from that set of buildings all the way back. So you have Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, and then NASA. But since we don't have credentials, we go the long way and go out and around. Okay? Alone produces enough power for over 1,500 homes. Out on property, they have a building that is totally solar. They have some of the little electric cars you plug in and all that sort of thing. The one building is 100% solar, everything. Running the computers, the electric, everything in it. So cork it, so it's gonna lay on the water. Disengage the parachutes, roll those up, and then they are now going to hook the rocket up because there's no lifting it up onto the ship. They have to drag it back. So 24 hours after every space mission or space shuttle mission, they would come up the same channel as your cruise ship through that lock system, and Freedom Star would be dragging one rocket booster, and Liberty Star would be dragging the other, and they'd be pulling them right on back up. Then they'd get taken back apart and back on railway, and those got sent back to Utah. One thing, if you go on the ride, if you have the backpacks versus anything like that, we will need to put them in a locker. They don't charge for the locker. We just have to go over, enter a code, and put them in, okay? Now, when we get into that building, we're going to go up together. We're going to go through 2 movies. They present Atlantis to us. And then we'll get you guys downstairs for that ride. It's very important. If you guys are not downstairs and already getting on that ride by 10:45, I can't let you on, okay? Because otherwise you don't have enough time and then we'd be running late for our bus tour. So that's the only part that I gotta be Mama Jan and put my foot down today. Okay? All right. This is the rocket garden over here. That's where we're gonna be starting everything out. This is the astronaut memorial. This airplane you're gonna see is a T-38 Talon. That would have been one of the ones that the space shuttle pilots would do some actual flying in for training. Again, that's the rocket boosters and the external tank and the home of Atlantis. Now, how do you get something so big inside this building? You simply build 3 sides of the building.
At this time in processing is one crawler. The crawler is a vehicle that used to take the whole orbitals out the east end of the building and down the crawlway, which you will see momentarily. It took about 6 hours or so to make that trip down to the launch pad over to your left distance. Now those crawlers have been around since the Apollo days, so they're up in age pretty good, so they're a constant need of attention. So this was an opportune time to take those crawlers inside the VAB and send them through. So that motor launcher will fit inside the VAB in the future for stacking of that heavy left rocket and the Orion capsule in the future. Now remember that because I'll be referring to that throughout the tour. Now on the left-hand side of the bus here is the crawlerway, and the crawlerway, this is a staging area for the crawler. This is where they take the crawlers in for smaller jobs like grease jobs, oil changes, cleat replacements, things of that sort. All of the heavy stuff is done up there in the VAB where they have all of the extra heavy cranes and lifting equipment. And also, this is a place to take the crawler after the crawler has done its job. There's no sense to take the crawler all the way back up to the VAB because the crawler's fuel mileage is judged in terms of feet to the gallon instead of miles to the gallon. So you're talking about 32 feet to the gallon. Now once they're in, strapped and ready to go, that rotating service structure will rotate back around to the position that you see it in at this time, and that rocket is ready to go. And simultaneously, when that rocket is ready to go, that water tower to the right of that launcher gets a signal from a computer to dump thousands of gallons of water down into the flame fresh area. And what that does, it tends to dampen the effects of the friction that might bounce back up out of the flame. Half was exhaust and the other half was steam. And as you can see, SpaceX is really working pretty quickly on changing this over. Now, up there to your right is a white tank. That white tank is a hydrogen tank. And that goes up that hill. We don't want to have anything falling off. And also, right over there to your left right there is 2 vertical pipes sticking up. That's right to the right of the water tower, and that is part of the automatic venting system. They automatically vents off the excess fumes during the fueling process. At that time, you'll see the bright flames coming out of the top. And the rest of the towers is launch platform 40, that's SpaceX. And in the back is 3 more like than the rest of the towers, and that's 41. And that'll be Atlas, and that's where they had that successful launch that I mentioned to you earlier. Chance up here as soon as we clear these bushes. This will probably be a little bit better area.
To manned spaceflight. Part of that mission was getting the vehicles from the Vehicle Assembly Building, or VAB, to the launch pad 3.5 miles away. NASA considered several methods for moving it. A rail line, a canal and barge, and 2 crawler transporters. Assembly began in 1965 here at KSC. The crawlers have gone through several modifications throughout the years. When they were built, the KSC crawlers were the largest tracked vehicles ever made, weighing 6 million pounds, 131 feet wide, and 114 feet long. It's comprised of 4 trucks and 8 tracks. Each of those tracks have 57 cleats, each weighing a ton. The crawler is capable of carrying 9 million pounds of mobile launch platform, plus another 3 million pounds of assembled space vehicle. They move the mobile launcher platform into the vehicle assembly building and then to the launch pad with an assembled space vehicle. Maximum speed is 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers per hour, loaded. about 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers per hour, unloaded. Launch pad to VAB trip time with the mobile launch platform is about 5 hours. When operated, it takes about 18 to 20 technicians and 7 engineers to move it along the crawler way. So many trips, the crawler has racked up more than 3,400 miles.
Okay, now we're just about up here at the intersection of 39A Crawlerway, 39B Crawlerway, and also the service crawlerway. And the crawler can be operated from either end, the east end or the west end. When the technicians get the crawler here at this intersection, they want to take the crawler into the service area. They just merely key down the east end and key up the west end and proceed that crawler into the service area. Now up ahead here is a stop sign, and obviously I'm going to have to come to a complete stop. So just to give you a chance to take a picture of the crawlerway. Over here to your right is the LCC, the building with the darkened out windows, the large control center. Inside at this time in processing and is in existence is 4 firing rooms. They have since closed down 3. 1 remains open, and that one has been updated also for the latest electronics, including fiber optics. Now over here at the VAB to your right, the 3rd largest building in the world upon completion, late 1960s. In this case, it was the 3rd largest in terms of volume. The American flag upside the building there, the rear spikes measure 8 feet wide, and the stars measure 6 feet point to point. That building stands 525 feet tall, and the blue area of the flag is the same size. And you'll be able to see all the way through to Highway 3 on the other side. Right over to your right. Now that particular crawler is undergoing additional renovations because it's going to have a big job ahead of it in the future. It's going to have to pick up that mobile launcher that I showed you earlier all the way over to your right, along with the heavy lift rocket and also the Orion capsule, and take all of that over to launch pad 39B. So it's going to have a pretty big job ahead of it in the future. And to the left of that is another older launcher that was used by the shuttle, and you can see the differences in sizes. They say in the state of Florida that every waterway, canal, creek, river, lake, there's always a chance of encountering an alligator. And the Kennedy Space Center is no different, saying that this is part of the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge. Once you get up here to this little bridge up here and look to your right, and you may see an alligator or manatee.
Look at it. Keep an eye out for the bald eagles. They are here.
Tallest tree in the 2nd row, everyone. Where the tree does this, you can see the big dark ball. You keep your eye out. See if
It's
there's
gonna
an eagle in there.
be
Keep watching because you'll be able to see
right there.
it. Right across from it.
Now turn around and look behind you. You'll get a better view of it.
See it?
See that? Isn't that awesome? That is awesome, isn't it? That is our largest and oldest bald eagle's nest on the compound. It is over 45 years old, and it weighs between 700 and 800 pounds right now. It did weigh over 1,200 pounds, but the last few hurricanes have knocked part of it down. And you know how remodeling goes. It takes time, but they'll get there.